What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Have You Seen This? It's season 5, episode 30. Uh, we've got basically no news to talk about.
Hmm.
I read a couple of articles about n- shows that did well throughout the year, and I'm like, isn't the year not done? And then I kind of disregarded it because it only counts television ratings anyway, and we're in a streaming age.
Oh
Nielsen's
boy.
got to Nielsen's got to catch up or something. I don't know. So not much news to talk about, but plenty of shows to talk about. And I guess there is news on those fronts because all of those shows are gone now, and
That's it.
those were the last episodes. So, uh, might as well jump right into it. But before we do, we gotta go and ask, how's it going, Rob?
It's going fine. Some pretty lackluster series finales, I will say. I've heard some people really like the one that I was kind of more upset about, but we'll talk about that later on this episode.
Fun stuff, fun stuff. Yeah. Uh, Pretty much the same. I felt all right about the ones that I saw anyway, but
Hmm.
nothing special, like nothing that was like outright bad, but nothing that really stood out. And you know, sometimes it's fine to not end badly
Well, we'll see.
because I mean, so many television shows do though. So
Mhm.
as long as you don't crash and burn, it's almost a success in the television world.
Yeah. Oh, there
Uh,
we go.
exactly.
That reminds me of a
I
show.
see, I see no burning though. That's all I'm saying.
Just the crashing. Just the crashing is fine. The
Exactly,
burning is the
exactly.
tough part.
All right, so we'll get into them in alphabetical order, starting with
Oh boy.
Barry. I
Oh boy.
don't
Now
know, I
this is
just chose that.
yeah, this is the one that really disappointed me. I'm gonna say this about this last season. What the heck? What this last season of Barry? It looks great. Yeah, it looked great. Uh, some of the things, like a lot of the bits with NoHo Hank, were very good. Uh, Even like him getting like that scene where he breaks out of prison and stuff like that, with the guys come to try and murder him. Uh, Again, great. That's a great episode, maybe the best episode of the season. As soon as the time jump happens, any kind of joy, it's always been a bleak show, but any kind of joy, any kind of fun, irreverence or whatever the show had seemed to die. So
Mhm.
it was kind of trudging along to the end, and I was left pretty disappointed by the final. I shouldn't say too much about it, as I don't think ever watched a single goddamn minute of this show. But just in case you do, yeah, I don't even know how spoilery it would be. Uh, but just yeah, there's closure on a couple characters, no closure at all on a couple others, um, and I guess kind of closure for one, but it was not deserved. Like it was not deserved. Like the absolute last couple scenes of this movie, I don't think were deserved. It was after yet another time jump too. I think the last 4 episodes of the show or so time jumped in total 20 years, like 10 years and then 10 years and stuff like that.
It's more
But
time
yeah,
jumping than the Flash.
yeah. It did. Yeah, I don't think it deserved the ending it got. It's one of those things. Like I don't know if they started out this season and thinking that's the end of Barry. Like we've done too much. Like last year, if they would have ended it last year, I would have still been glowing about this show. It's like perfect. They just had that great episode. The episode before, like their second last episode last season, was absolutely fantastic. The last episode was good. You could have ended it there. Everybody would have been happy. It's like, okay, we get it. We get it. But this, Yeah, I don't. I don't want to. I don't want to shit too much on the. I can't shit too much on the show. It's a good show, and again, it's not like Seinfeldy where everyone's going to complain about the ending forever. Uh, it's just not great. Like you expected more, and you would hope that you'd have more of the loose ends tied up, especially if they had all season to figure it out. I guess Bill Hader and his partner had an idea to how they wanted the show to end, and they executed it. And it's their show ultimately. I'm just a guy along for the ride. I just, there's so many good things to bury. It's just these
Mm.
last episodes, just not, it didn't stick. It didn't stick for me. But it's not even a free show. You pay for it. God damn it. But yeah,
All right.
not directly. It's not like I went to see it, not like I bought a ticket or anything. But uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I was hoping for better. Let's just say that I was hoping for better. I was let down. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's bad or not, but I was let down.
So just because I think it's a little funny,
What?
next in the alphabet we have Succession, because I realized the two other shows both start with the.
Oh, that's how you're gonna do it. All right.
And neither of us actually watched this season of Succession or even last season of Succession, but
No.
I've I've actually been mostly spoiled because it's all over the internet.
Sure.
But I still don't know like how things got there, and there are several characters that I haven't heard anything about, so that's pretty interesting. But no more Succession. Uh,
Yeah.
I've heard good things. I've heard bad things. Overall, it seems people have enjoyed the last season and the finale. So I'll watch it eventually. I don't think I have a Crave subscription at the moment. So
Oh, well, that how shocking is that? Yeah, I know what happened in the finale too. Here's the thing, and like we have a bunch of friends that absolutely love the show. I know our buddy Taco loves Succession.
mm,
Uh, for me, it's you know I don't like any of the characters in it. I think they're all assholes. If I want to hang out with assholes for an hour, I'd hang out with my family or
or
my
you'd come on
friends
here.
or God damn it, I'll come on this show. Uh, yeah, I when you have no rooting interest in anybody and you just want to be a fly on the wall to see how shitty people react to being shitty, yeah, then Succession is for you. It's just not a show for me. I watched the first season, like maybe season and a half, maybe 2 seasons,
Yeah, I
and
think I'm
yeah,
somewhere in season 2 as well.
yeah,
And
I just had yeah, rich people are assholes is the theme of the thing, I guess, and yeah, it's
yeah,
like yeah, but why do I want to watch it?
it's particularly hard to binge too.
Right.
Just because like it's a lot. And yeah, it is just rich people being assholes, and I will watch that, but I'd rather the rich people have dragons.
Oh
That's
my
also cool.
gosh. Yeah, that's all right. That's fine.
Give the rich people dragons, and I'm there. Talk about rich people being assholes all day.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, but again, I'll probably get around to it. Like I do kind of enjoy the whole like rich people being assholes aspect. But yeah, uh, it's a fun show.
Yeah.
Moving on to The Flash, which ends after
Right.
9 seasons. Oof.
Yeah, we talked about this
Uh,
last time, and that's bananas.
yeah. Yeah, I was correct last week when I referred to Eddie Thawne as Cobalt Blue. I don't know if that's his comic book counterpart or if that's just the one in the television series that they're going with, because they have
Right.
changed a few different guys around. I believe I believe Zoom is actually a reverse Flash. Like the Zoom in the TV show in the comics was a reverse Flash and not a Zoom. two completely different speedster villains.
Oh my god. How could they get them mixed up?
I have
Do
no
they do the
idea.
exact same stuff? Yes, they do.
Well,
Oh
in a
my god.
way. Okay, that's also possible because comics are ridiculous, but um I don't care about any of that personally. Like
Hmm.
it's just another guy in this television show. This is a different comic continuity if you really want to argue that much about it. Like, meh, I can't be bothered to like argue with those people.
Smart.
Yeah.
So did you
Eh,
enjoy the finale though? Like in that whole run up, that 4 part thing running up to the end of the Flash.
mhm.
Did you enjoy this last season, these last few episodes?
I have enjoyed I especially enjoyed a lot of like the first half of this season.
Right.
Which was like a five like there's a 5-parter and then a 4-parter at the end and then a couple of mid episodes which were actually
So
really
Doctor
good.
Who.
I a little bit, but especially more recent Doctor Who especially. And hopefully going forward I would like a couple of big bads throughout a season or just a shorter season.
Yeah.
It just kind of helps.
Good.
But yeah, I didn't hate it, but I would have preferred some other things happening.
Okay.
Like you were saying, some people's storylines get resolved, other people's don't. Like there are a ton of cameos from people from all throughout the show's history, but others who are missed. So it's all in all, it was a good finale to a show that definitely ran too long. And while I kept enjoying it because I just really like the Flash and I like a lot of the villains, and some of the portrayals are a lot better than others. But yeah, in the end, it was really funny. Nora gets to hold herself as a baby, which is always amusing.
What?
Um, yeah, Barry's daughter holds herself after Iris gives birth to her because she's at the party afterwards.
Uh,
And
all right.
it's, yeah, it's really fun. And also should have destroyed the timeline, but we won't get into that. It's the series finale.
Oh my god. Uh, so was everybody kind of back in these last few episodes? Like Cisco, everybody is on the show, or there's it
we
just
we were missing Cisco.
yeah.
Like Cisco coming back would have been great. Uh Caitlin does finally come back after a while. She's been dead for a little bit now, and like before that, she quit the team to try and resurrect Killer Frost, who also died, also
Mm-hmm.
played by the same person. So a lot of her characters kept getting killed off, and yeah, well, she was recreated as some sort of like goddess this season, and she's kind of connected to the nature of all things. And then when she ascends at the end of the season, she gives Caitlin back to them because she didn't need the corporeal body that she was in anymore. And so Caitlin gets reunited with the team right at the end, and she says sorry that she tried to resurrect the dead and all of that. And
Well, that's you know what? The least you can do. That is the absolute least you can do is simply apologize for it. You know what? I'm sorry for being a necromancer.
yeah,
That's it. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And
Unbelievable.
then Barry was just like, yeah, I've been there. Like, I did go back in time and save my mom and then live in that timeline until I damaged all of reality irreparably. But
Oh, well, these
we've
things
all
happen though.
been there.
Yeah, these things happen. Like, come on. Unbelievable.
And
You
yeah,
even have to apologize for that. Incredible.
also, just for fun, 7 new speedsters. I mean, not new speedsters, they're all old ones, but bringing back every single speedster villain that has popped up on the show really amused me and probably made people mad. But I thought it was a lot of fun. Even though I really don't like the Godspeed in this show, but
Mm-hmm.
Savitar was a kick,
Oh yes.
and him coming back was also really funny.
And Saboteur, was that Barry Allen? Is
Yes,
that yeah,
yes.
okay, all right.
He's the evil time revenant version of Barry.
Hmm.
And I was actually very upset in that season because I really wanted Savitar to be Wally after Savitar breaks his back, and it would have been, I guess that was a red herring, and I was supposed to think that it's Wally inside of the suit because he has his back broken, and so he needs the exoskeleton. But like, I just still really wanted it to be Wally because they were fighting that whole season, and it would have been cool to have a villain that is like even more personally connected to him.
Hmm.
And well, then also, like, if he was that kind of villain, well, I guess Barry is that kind of villain, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's also interesting to have a villain that has a true connection to the Speed Force, other than like the other guys who steal it or recreate it or are the negative Speed Force. Like, yeah, I think it's an interesting angle, and I just wish they had done it with the other Flash instead of just a copy of Barry, because I don't know, Barry's just too goody.
Oh boy.
Like, he's too much of a goody two shoes that I don't think he could ever do that. But like, Wally would be almost deserve it.
Now, does Barry do any CSI work in these last few seasons? Do you ever see him at his job?
Holy shit! It's been so long since he's been a CSI guy.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Over the last couple of seasons, he's like done a lot of work. Like the last three captains have all known he's the Flash eventually.
Not a
Because
good secret keeper.
one of them was like his dad.
Yeah.
So when Joe's captain, it makes sense that the captain knows. But he eventually tells the next one, and then it turns out that she's a meta as well, and she's super like anti-meta when she first shows up, and then later like one reveals that she too has interesting cool powers, and then Barry reveals himself at some point and
Are they
tells
some
her
kind of
that
speed
he's the
powers?
Flash. No, she has the power to steal people's powers.
Ugh.
When she's in close proximity to people, she can mimic their powers. And so technically, yes, she does use super speed at one point, but it's because she's near Barry at the time.
Oh my god. Uh, so is there any heroes that you would have liked to have seen on the show that you never got to, or any villains?
Uh, hmm.
Like there's been
That
quite a
is
few
an
heroes.
interesting question. And
Like, we even got
it's,
Firestorm. That was good.
yeah, like there, we got such an array of all of them throughout. I mean, yeah, because
And Plastic
throughout the
Man was on the
entire
show.
Arrowverse, because all of it is over. um, like, I'm still upset we never got a Green Lantern because
Yeah.
I really like Lantern bullshit, and they pulled off several versions of Crisis without ever using a lantern ring, so that's pretty applaudable in itself. But I I would have liked some lanterns.
Even just a character or something like that. Like if he just says his name or whatever, and no one ever he never does his power, just to have him in the show, would you have been
They
okay with that?
they
It's hard
even
to do
gave
the
a,
effects, I guess, right?
yeah. It's probably very expensive to do a Green Lantern. That's probably why they don't have one. But
They just don't go like this.
they give what's his name a ring like multiple times, and eventually he like it's a Green Lantern ring in a little box, and it keeps calling to him to claim his destiny, and then eventually he throws it at a wall and a dimensional portal opens and it disappears. So like they were taunting us with Green Lantern.
Unbelievable. What about jerks? How about villains? Anything other than a speedster guy? That was driving me nuts.
And that's the
And
thing,
we got
is like
Grodd. Grodd was cool.
they did a lot of my favorites, like Grodd and King Shark.
Hmm.
I actually was not familiar with, but really liked Bloodsport, like on
Oh,
Blood.
right. Yep.
Damn it, I don't think his name's Bloodsport. I think it's Blood Spawn or Blood. I again, I only knew his portrayal on the TV show, but I
Hmm.
found that character very interesting. The Thinker definitely could have been better, but you know, it was it's hard. uh, some of these characters, like the Flash and some of his villains, are so old that they're literally just silly. So it's really hard to come up with some of them as realistic portrayals. I can think of the terrible effects on Red Tornado and Supergirl as an example. That like you got to work with what you have sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I nobody really jumps out to me that would be a specific like Flash villain that I missed out on. So
If
all in all,
you still
fair.
liked it though, attaboy.
Yeah.
If you were to, if Greg Berlanti is like, oh, guess what, guys? I get one more. I got one more crack at this. Which hero would you want in the? Well, so we'll take Green Lantern out of it. It'll never happen, guys. Never happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Even though it was supposed to happen, I guess, over on HBO, or Max or
Hmm.
whatever they want to call it now. Who would you have? Someone that's never been, it hasn't really had their own show. Like even I at first I think Hawkman or whatever, but he was part of that Legends thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. Hmm. And yeah, I'm trying to think of a like classic Justice League character too. But all of them have kind of had TV shows. We'll get an Aquaman show.
How about ugh, how about
Exactly.
how about the Wonder Twins? You could have a Wonder Twins show with
Mm.
Gleek, Gleek, the purple monkey, and he wasn't even the
Actually,
weirdest bit of the whole show.
I mean, I guess it's announced,
Oh
but
boy.
the TV series that James Gunn will at some point make for his DC universe, that they described as Game of Thrones on Themyscira. Uh,
Right. Yeah.
a Wonder Woman show would be very cool, and adding Wonder Woman to that Berlanti verse would have been interesting.
Hmm.
Or just Donna Troy would also be great. Like either of them.
Yeah. I
uh,
know that she's on that Teen Titans show that they had
yeah,
out.
yeah, and yeah, she's actually like one of my favorite characters on that show.
Hmm.
And yeah, a Wonder Woman of sorts would be a cool show.
As long as she did the spin to turn into Wonder Woman, just like Linda Carter. Wonder Woman. I was in Las Vegas and there's a Wonder Woman slot machine and it was everywhere. Like casinos would have 3 or 4 different Wonder Woman slot machines. Oh my god. You walk around all you hear is Wonder Woman. It's like, yeah.
All
Every
right,
time I spun around, I just knocked over a couple of people. I never even changed it to nothing. So it's horse crap.
and yeah, that that was it. It was time for it to be over, but
Yeah.
as I mentioned to somebody else, like I'm still sad that it is. I would still watch more of that show,
Oof.
and
That's
like I
dedication.
would just again I would just hope that it's better, and like other seasons were better than others. I mean, nobody should, but like Supernatural is a great example of a series that can really go through ups and downs and ups again because it ran for 15 seasons
That's
and
crazy. And I haven't seen a single minute of that show, and it ran for that long. Like accidentally, I've never
it's
seen that show, which is weird.
and yeah, so fun stuff. Guess we could move on to the last one and another show that is ending forever. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Right. Not even on the thumb, the whatever it is that we put up on the picture in front. It's like unbelievable. Show we both love. Talk about it every time it's on. But Succession made it. Oh well. Yes, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Now, again, yeah, sure. There was time for the Maisel part to go. I was fine with that. Again, I wanted a bunch of the characters to stick around somehow. And another finale where we get no closure, no nothing,
Yeah.
nothing. We got nothing.
Yeah. In a way, I almost prefer that to like only
Really?
half the people getting closure.
They
Like
could have
I
they could have done the classic thing though. They could have like shown like pictures of them or something like that, or a brief little video of them, and just have like this is what happened to Moisha. This is what happened to Joel. This is what you know what I mean.
yeah.
They did nothing. They did nothing. We never knew why Joel went to prison. It was never told to us. We have an idea.
Mhm.
We have no idea what happened to the parents. We have no idea what happened to anybody.
We don't even
Anybody.
know.
The
Yeah,
only person we know what happened to is Lenny Bruce, who finally shows up in the last episode. And yeah, that's not great, guys. Guys, look it up. Not great.
Yeah. That's a
But they did.
really rough scene.
I did like how they captured him at the end when he was doing just that. That like he was doing that. He was just
Mm.
reading off his charges and stuff like that at the end. It's too bad.
And
Heroin.
yeah, like opening it up and like a year before he passes, like
Yeah.
oof. It was that was rough. I was very sad. And again, all in all, it was a very good episode. It wasn't what I was hoping because
Right.
I was again hoping for more of that fall. But you know, it was good. This one I'm more upset that there isn't more. Like there should be because so many stories are still left untold.
Yep.
But and yeah, like it's good, and I respect the choice to not end everyone's story, and I think it's the second best thing, right? Tying up all the loose ends is the best. Not
Yeah.
tying up any loose ends at all would be second best, and then tying up some but leaving others untouched is the worst.
Right.
And I guess the fourth would be ending on a cliffhanger, even though you announced it was the final season.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, let's go to the scene on the Gordon Ford show. And they decide, oh, she's going to be on the show. And then, no. For some reason, we're going to have a sit down and make it a
yeah.
piece or whatever, but whatever. And here's our
'Cause he's
lady
mad.
writer. Yeah, he's mad because he went over the head to the to his wife. And again, another story that doesn't pan out at all. But anyways, even though, well, besides talking about her like before or whatever, which is fine. But sitting down and all of a sudden it's like, you got 4 minutes or whatever afterwards, right? And then she says, well, I gotta, I have 4 minutes to make my history or whatever. So they come back and talk for a quick 30 seconds or so. And then she says, "What I really am is a
And then
comic."
she does like 12 minutes of
Then
comedy.
she does like 12 minutes. Not only that, they sit her down on the couch. What?
Oh my god.
It would have
Yeah,
been
that
funny. It would have been funnier if it was just her for the first 2 minutes, and then you see the screen running or whatever as she's telling her jokes, and it doesn't even get to finish and stuff like that. Would have been way funnier. But yeah, 12 minutes she goes on for, and she does. As soon as she grabs that mic, it's like she turns into her superhero form. You ever notice that? How she hunches over when she talks and stuff like that, and the lighting goes different, everything else. So she finally goes in the super person talk for the first time in a while. This is the first time all season you see her actually doing her act, and you saw very few times the season before as well. But yeah, she's finally doing it. 12 friggin' minutes she's going on for, and the classic punchline at the end. Sits down, and then Gordon Ford is the one who calls her the marvelous Mrs. Maisel or whatever, the wonderful, the magnificent, the marvelous Mrs. Maisel or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that took like 15 minutes. You had less than 4 minutes. You had 4 minutes when you came back from commercial. How did you work this?
Well, it was 4 extra minutes until the next segment. Clearly,
that was the end of the show. That was the end of the show. It wasn't the next segment. It was the end of the show. Everybody else was on. They had the singer or whatever on before. Unbelievable.
Right. And yeah, I thought it was very amusing that she performed that long, and you definitely could have just cut to like Mike and Susie on the side and just being like, she's been up there for 8 minutes. She's supposed to have 4.
There's so much, like all the stuff at the Gordon Ford show. I really like this year. I love the other writers and stuff like that. I thought they were great. Yeah, Mike was great. The original producer was great. I like the way they dealt with him and stuff like that. But all the stuff at the Gordon Ford, like the Gordon Ford himself, great. All this stuff is great. It's just like they
should have
they put Midge in there, and it's kind of like,
yeah, they should have just stopped making Mrs. Maisel as well. And
like Mrs. Maisel's and Friends or something like that, or Maisel's Family or whatever. Like when Valerie left Valerie, and they just call it Valerie's Family. They could just call it like Mrs. Maisel's Family or something, and just have everybody else.
Yeah,
everybody can circle around her like the sun.
It was a little crazy that everything just ended, just all abruptly, all at once. Also, the "you're fired" was very amusing.
Yeah,
it's wild, and I like the phone call with Susie when they're both super like old and just watching
the very
Jeopardy
end
together that they've taped, like pre-taped, and
I see, and I like the bit, like they were setting it up and stuff like that. Like, let's talk, and like in that when she was getting that award, when Susie was getting the award, and they talked about like we're gonna like give me a call or whatever next time we're in town or stuff like that. And then they go on at the end, and it's just like they've always been and stuff like that. And again, they never really talk about why they got into that fight. I thought the fight would have been over her trying to get on the show, and Susie just saying no, or Susie at some time saying stop, but she never did. So what could she have done to have made them, stop talking to each other for 20 years?
It was clearly being in league with the mob and then getting her husband thrown in jail. Like it
but they don't
has
explain
to be that. But yeah, they never really have that conversation fully. They have it a little
how she knows she's in the mob. Yeah, they talk about how she knew that she was hooked up with the mob, but they went through that and they were fine. I don't know. There's but we're nitpicking again.
That would have been a cool scene though. Is like basically Joel having to tell her that. and like we know he's arrested in a way, and uh basically like him having to tell her that because she wouldn't believe or even assume that it was Susie to begin with. Like, would have been middle of the road future flash forward, but
See, I think if they would have started the entire season with Susie and Midge fighting, and then showing Joel getting arrested or whatever, Joel gets arrested first scene, Midge, Susie fighting, uh, and then you're going to be doing all these jumping back and forth anyways. Just do it at the very beginning and see how everybody kind of got where. May have just chronologically better. It would have just felt better for me. But just to leave it as kind of, oh well, this happened or whatever. We're gonna let you know that something happened, but we're never gonna show you. It's like, yeah,
really,
I
could
don't
have
want to
like,
use my imagination on this. Like,
yeah,
this is bullshit. I
you
just
could
want
have
to see it.
said it in that time when it's all found out and have that and then flash back to the 3 or 4 scenes we needed from this time, like the few
Yeah.
times in the office, the forcing Gordon's hand by going around him, uh and finding out the daughter's a genius. That was a pretty fun scene.
Yeah. There's lots to like about this season. There's lots to like.
And then yeah, just it's kind of the contemporary stuff that is just like, it's extraneous because we're all just waiting for certain dominoes to fall that they literally teased throughout the season and then never showed us.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. It's a shame. But yeah,
Yeah,
all in all, it was a good finale. I liked it better than I liked the Barry finale. Uh, you know, it's a good ending to the series. There's things that I just would have preferred to have seen or stuff like that. I'm not upset by it. It's
yeah,
just yeah,
same, same.
it's just kind of ugh. I just wish there was something else. Wish there was something else to it. But whatever.
Honestly, like I wouldn't have so many nitpicks if I hadn't like liked it that much. Like I still enjoyed it. Like I would change some things because everybody would change some things if they had their way. But uh yeah, it was really fun. It stayed fun through the whole show, which I really liked.
Yeah.
Great show. Would recommend.
Yeah, 100% would recommend. I would
And
recommend it. It
I
would have been on
wouldn't
the picture for the
recommend,
show.
yeah, I wouldn't even like recommend skipping the last 2 seasons like I would a certain picture on our background.
How dare you?
And I'm not talking about Community. I liked those.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
uh, all right. Anything else? We
I wanted
got,
to I wanted to talk
yes,
Survivor real quick because
as our
not this.
producer caught up.
Yes, yeah, the Ted Lasso. I'll be catching up with it this week. It's another series again. Started out great, and this year's I'm just not feeling Ted Lasso this year. It's just there's something about it like that. Like it's just maybe they shouldn't have ever come to the Premier League or something like that. There's something about Ted Lasso that this year has just been off. It's been off a little bit. Maybe, and I don't know if it has anything to do with Jason Sudeikis' private life. Who knows? But yeah, there is something just different about Ted Lasso this year. Still enjoyable, I guess, but yeah, it hasn't been a must-watch for me where it had been before. And then this guy's loving this season, but also this guy isn't even a human being anymore. He's just some goddamn ghost.
Hey,
He lives. He
don't make
lives
fun
in
of
my
the
computer.
robot.
He lives in my computer.
He's a robot, not a ghost.
Oh, is that it? Oh my
Okay?
gosh.
He's a real robot.
Robot Ghost. Robot. Oh, time for our new series, guys. Robot Ghost. What he does.
Robot ghost.
Yeah, he just disagrees with things. That's his entire job.
worst part is I could tell you about a robot ghost that is a Pokemon. So
Oh,
don't
brother.
don't even don't even come at me.
This is
um,
insane.
we should, yeah. Uh, did did our producer tell us he's caught up on Survivor? You can talk about it.
He must have. He must have been caught up. Barry's gone forever. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. This ghost. We'll find out in a second. I can tell you one thing: that the Canadian streak is over, and that
Oh no.
yeah, Canadian guy named Kane was not the winner. Yeah, it was a good season. I like the season was fine. I really like the cast. I like the cast this year. I can say that there isn't
I've
anybody.
heard great things actually.
Yeah, yeah. Kane was, I believe, he was from Saskatoon. He kind of looked like a half-shaved Sasquatch. So he didn't win. I thought he was, again, even though he's just from Saskatchewan, I didn't hate him. I thought he was good. If he would have won, I would have been happy with it.
Saskatchewatch?
Oh my god. Okay. It's pretty rude. It's pretty rude to say.
You called him a Sasquatch.
So yeah. Oh my god. The final three themselves. Yeah, I was happy to see it. I think it's right. There was a guy named Carson who did very well this year. Made it just short. He couldn't make fire in time against a girl named Heidi, even though she had won the whatever it is, the carnival game beforehand or whatever. So she gets to pick or whatever who makes fire to go home. She picks herself because she's really good at it and takes out Carson, who would have won because he was just some good kid who, and nobody could really say bad things about him, and he's super smart, and he would have probably won. So it comes down to a guy named Jam Jam, but Y-I-M Jam Jam. So I've been spelling strawberry jam wrong my whole life, it turns out. Spelled Y-I-M. A lady named Carolyn, who's been sober now from drugs for years and years and years as a counselor and stuff like that, but is certifiably nuts and this Heidi lady. And I can, like, the very first scene of this season, and I'd never seen this before, is a diary thing, a testimonial thing or whatever, just of Carolyn. This is even before they introduce people on the boat. It's just her, like, it goes from black to Carolyn just talking. Mm-hmm. So I thought for sure this lady's crazy and will be voted out in the first episode. No. She makes it all the way. And
so the second episode, right?
Is that? Yeah, she makes it all the way. Second episode. She makes it all the way. Final three. She played and like she had a hidden immunity idol that she played really well and let nobody know about. Maybe a problem is they should have let more people know about it. She would have got some votes. She was she got no votes in the end, but she was the one I was kind of hoping to win. I was fine with either Jam Jam or her winning. I really again, I didn't hate anybody, but the more you see of this Carolyn, the more she kind of grew on me. Just how nuts she was. I really enjoyed that. She was that little bit of insanity. Yeah. She got the Sia Cash. Another one of those Sia Cash things or whatever. So yeah, so good for her. I still understand that Sia giving out I understand you like the show, Sia, but $100,000 just to whoever your favorite was is okay, whatever. But yeah, good for her. Good for her. I'm glad she got some money. What? Really? Again, Carson started out like before he got onto the show was like 100. What did he say? 115 pounds or something like that, and then he bulked up to like 145 or 150, and and he worked for NASA or something like that. So don't worry about Carson.
And by the end of the show, he was 115 again.
No shit. And they say that's like the worst thing you can do. It's like build muscle before you go on to Survivor. If anything, build fat. so your body has something to eat. It's
Mm.
just eating muscle, then yeah, it's not great for you. But uh, yeah, so it goes down to the three of them. Jam Jam wins. Jam Jam, I think, is a worthy winner. He was funny the entire time. I think he only won the one challenge. He won the one where you're gonna drown, basically challenge. You have to hold on to
The
things until.
waterboarding challenge.
Yeah, basically he gets waterboarded. Yeah, that's why they do this out in Fiji. They can't do that on they can't do that on American shores. No, they will go to prison forever. But yeah, I think it's the best cast they've had in a little while. The one where I can say, like, for the most part, there was maybe this guy, I think his name was Danny or something like that. I wasn't a huge fan of him, but you had to have a little, you had a little oil in the ointment there. You know, you can't always have everybody love festing out there. You got to be able to do dirty tricks and stuff. And he also make great moves. People make good moves. Yeah, the cast was fantastic. I really like the cast. I like. Uh, there was that one season since they came back after 40. The one with they had Boston Rob and Sandra as like the hosts of this this island and stuff like that. And I didn't really like that. There's been so cast or whatever, but I think they really nailed it this year. I just goddamn I and it's going back to Fiji. We all know it's going back to Fiji every time now, it seems. I wish they'd go somewhere else. You know, I don't know. It's like if your favorite, if you go to your favorite restaurant every single month or whatever,
yeah,
pretty soon it's not going to be your favorite restaurant anymore. I thought.
I just found out that they recently did the first ever Survivor Quebec, which was it was all French speaking people. The whole show is in French. It's still in fucking Fiji. I was like, you had the perfect opportunity to not just go to Survivor Island.
They should have done that. Yeah, they should have done that at that winter fair in Quebec City. They could have Bonhomme. They could have Bonhomme in it. Bonhomme could have been the host.
I think Winter Survivor comes with a lot more liability insurance because, like, when the cameras turn off, you can give a guy some fucking water, but you can't let your players get frostbite. So keeping them out.
That's the first thing they got to do is build an igloo.
Like,
get both teams to build igloos, and if they can't, they all perish. And
that's the first thought for a challenge. But if they fail that, they die or lose limbs at the least. And
you could do it you could do it in Quebec City. As soon as you get medicked out of there or whatever, they bring the sled dogs or something like that and get you out of there.
Yeah, and like we don't have to go into the middle.
Anytime a doctor has to show up, you're out.
We don't have to go to the middle of the wilderness in Quebec either. You just go like 10 feet outside of most major cities and you're in the middle of the woods.
Yeah. I would say, they could do that that maple syrup in the snow thing or whatever. That could be a big treat for them. Of course, you win the food advantage and it's just poutine. But that's pretty good.
You just take down some wolves.
Saint Hubert's chicken or poutine.
Or better yet, you befriend the wolves. They hunt for you.
Yeah,
there we go. I'm winning Survivor.
They can all go ice fishing. One of the things could be build a hut or whatever for ice fishing.
Yeah.
And then just go and ice fish all day. There's people that do it here for nothing.
Yeah. And
these guys can win like $30,000 or whatever you win in.
I was super sad.
Survivor Quebec.
Quebec has a lot of these shows that are just like
rip-offs.
I mean, this is a sanctioned thing, but yes, they have French rip-offs of pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
they have a show called Emmy, and it's about 6 people living in Quebec City. Yeah.
Yeah, there's basically a word-for-word Brooklyn Nine-Nine show that is just starring all Quebecois actors. Yeah, and it's pretty much beat for beat, line for line. the trailer looks exactly like the trailer of a Brooklyn Nine-Nine episode. So I was just like, what is going on here?
I got a question. What's the name of Gina's floor? Her dance company. It can't be Floorgasm. What would be the French word? Le petit
Oh
morgan.
man.
Le petit. What's that? Le petit. Le petit more. Whatever.
I have no idea.
Floor. Le petit more. That'd be pretty good. It kind of rhymes.
And yeah. So yeah, Quebec Survivor is still in Fiji. Very sad.
Unbelievable.
Um, just gonna jump in 1 second because I've been watching a show as well that is an old show, but it only just got it added to my Netflix. I've started and I've watched 5 or 6 episodes now of the Harley Quinn cartoon
Oh,
on
sure.
that was
Okay.
like the one of the DC Universe originals.
Oh.
I had never seen the DC Universe title card until I watched this show, and I was like, "Oh, look at that! They did a Marvel thing."
This is the one that has is it Kaylee Cuoco is Harley Quinn on this one? Or have you even noticed?
Yes,
How dare you?
I I've definitely like I've recognized everybody, but I haven't looked it up
And
because
Poison Ivy's in it, right?
yes,
Okay.
Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn are roommates, and they're
Hmm.
trying to become evil enough to join the Legion of Doom.
All right.
Yeah, and yeah, it's pretty fun. Harley Quinn finds out that at least in this continuity, she jumps into the acid willingly and isn't pushed by the Joker, but she had repressed that memory and decided it was his fault. And when she realizes she did it herself, she's just like, wow, I was a dumb motherfucker. And so she rewrites her memory again to make her beat the shit out of Joker and dump him for the third time that series. And again, I've watched 5 or 6 episodes.
Okay.
It's really fun,
Ho-
actually.
hold on, because I'm just looking at the cast right now,
Oh
and yeah,
yeah, like I
heard that.
recognize pretty much every person's
Yeah.
voice. I just
Lake Bell is Poison Ivy. We love
mhm.
her. Like if you guys have never seen like shows like Medical Police and stuff like that, so good. Alan Tudyk is Clayface. Ron,
Yes,
Ron Funches is King Shark. Tony Hale
that's
is
he's
Doctor
so fucking
Psycho.
funny.
Do you know who Batman is?
Oh, Tony Hale is Psycho?
Yeah. Do you know who Batman is?
Huh.
Or are you cheating and looking? It's
I am
Dietrich
looking, but I haven't
Dietrich
got to
Bader.
casting characters yet.
Dietrich Bader is Batman. JB Smoove is in there. It's something called Frank the Plant. Chris Maloney is Commissioner
That's a
Gordon.
talking plant that hangs out with Poison Ivy.
That makes sense. Quick guess on who the Riddler is. You should know this though.
Oh man, he's only been in like 3 minutes of the whole series so far.
Oh,
Oh man, he breaks out of Arkham with Poison Ivy and Harley. Uh, oh crap, I don't know.
the Dean, Jim Rash.
Wow.
Yeah. Jason Alexander's
Oh,
in it. Andy
I did
Daly's
know
Two
that.
Face, unbelievable. Yeah. Uh, Phil Lamar's in it. Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna start watching the show this week. We'll talk. Maybe we'll go more. We guys like it's
Juan Carlo
summer.
Esposito is Lex Luthor.
All the shows are ended. There's no shows left on TV, so we got to find whatever. So yeah,
Yeah,
so the next one may be Harley Quinn that we talked about, because honestly, there's nothing left. Nothing.
yeah. It's a pretty fun series. Seems to have 3 seasons, 37 episodes. It's
Three
real
seasons.
easy.
Okay.
They're like 22 minutes. They're real
Perfect.
quick episodes.
Mm-hmm. Like a
And
regular
then
sitcom.
also, yeah. And then if you don't like it, it's real easy to give up on after 3 episodes. It'll barely take you an afternoon.
How dare you?
So, that about does it, because we're getting a little late in the episode. So, maybe next week, since we had tons of things to talk about, we can talk about Jury Duty, which I have
Yes,
one more episode to watch.
you
So
are
I've
the
finished
worst.
the whole trial, and I have like whatever I've seen like just the trailer bit for the next episode, so I know they're like revealing things to him.
Well, he said
But
the judge says it at the very end of the episode or
yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to see that. Again, I'm so confused how anybody believed this for a whole goddamn trial, but yeah, we can jump into that next week, since yeah, we don't really have many shows that we have plans on tracking, so we will either figure one out or just kind of just randomly talk about things that we're watching that week, which
Mm-hmm.
we do anyway.
That's right.
You got some plugs?
Oh, sure. Well, besides this, on this very own and Northern Entertainment Group network, I've also just been on a show with our pal 50, his show, Greatest Show in the Galaxy. Talked about a couple of novels called the Time Worm series or whatever. Pretty interesting. It's I have no reference point from it because he's the only one who read those books. But yeah, it's still fun to talk Doctor Who with 50 for sure. Let's see, on Let's Get Ready Network proper, I once in a while do a couple episodes of Entertainment News Break with Justin. This is talking more movies and other kind of just pop culture kind of topics that come up. And also, of course, on the Let's Get Ready Headlines Network, Starting 11 just had its season finale. The Premier League's over. That just dropped today. And then we'll be doing more episodes of Playoffs Beards coming up, especially since we finally have the Stanley Cup final set. And if anybody had these two teams in there together, I'll give them $4. That's all I can afford. How about
It's
you?
honestly surprising and not surprising.
That didn't make any sense.
Yeah, because, well, the Golden Knights were one of the best teams going into the West. With how hurt Colorado was and how garbage the West is, and how unreliable a rookie goaltender in Edmonton is, even if they have Jesus himself, and Wayne
Wow.
Gretzky was also playing with Jesus.
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
that's how good Leon Draisaitl was in these playoffs, but look at where the Oilers went. Yeah, I am not surprised to see Vegas at all. And
No, that is not surprising.
Florida barely squeaked in, but everybody seems to have forgotten over the course of the season that they were a franchise record President's Trophy last year.
Yeah.
And they upgraded in the offseason by dropping Jonathan Huberdeau and picking up Matthew Tkachuk.
You wouldn't have thought it's been. I thought it was more of a lateral move and them just being safe or whatever, knowing that. Like I'm thinking, even with Calgary being safe, we could probably hook up. Like Tkachuk wants to go south, Huberdeau is fine for coming north. So yeah, but yeah, it really worked out well worked out pretty well for them. I still say Matthew Tkachuk is a jerk. And it's always nice to see that the coach that gave up on my team, coaching a team the very next year to a Stanley Cup final.
But it turns out that, well, now that you look into it, maybe there were some extenuating circumstances in Winnipeg. Yeah. Maybe it's that half the team doesn't want to be there.
How dare you?
They want to follow Paul Maurice out the door.
Oh my god. You're the worst.
But yeah. Interesting final. I'm gonna be picking the team that took your team out of the playoffs over the team coached by your ex-coach.
Very good. Yeah.
And
Every part of this hurts me. So, anyways, go ahead.
And the Stanley Cup will be awarded to a team for the very first time at the
That's
end
a nice
of this
thing.
series.
At least there's that.
That's very cool. Anytime it happens, even if it happened a few years ago with Washington. And was it not Vegas? I can't remember specifically, but was it not Vegas?
They beat the Jets in the Western Final that year, 4-1, as they beat
5 years ago.
Yeah, 2018. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hey, you remember how Ottawa lost the Stanley Cup Finals too? You jackass. You remember that?
I do, actually.
Oh, I remember it.
I was first getting into hockey, and that was one of the worst days ever. And oh man, that was very sad. And also because there were so many just awesome moments in that whole run. The Daniel Alfredsson goal. Oh man, if Hasek doesn't get hurt, so many things that like I couldn't even comprehend back in the day because I was so young. But also that like looking back today, I'm just like, man, that was close. we were hands outstretched and we missed the Lightning by millimeters. Not the Tampa Bay Lightning, but the metaphorical Lightning.
Yes.
Yeah. Real sad. But we got an asshole Tkachuk on our team, so I'm looking forward to the future. So
that's true. And it sounds like he actually wants to stick around there too, which is nice.
I mean, he's gotta for 6 years or so.
Oh no, that doesn't matter. No. Trust me, that does not matter. Not anymore.
I mean, in theory, it doesn't. Yes.
Oh yeah,
but
you're right.
It's always nice when everybody is locked up for many years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember his father signing a contract in Winnipeg. Played well in the first year, and then decided to sit out for more money the very next year. So yeah, that's a Tkachuk.
Back when you could do that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A certain player of the Ottawa Senators tried to do that, and then he got stripped of his captaincy, and they put it on some guy named Daniel Alfredsson. He was an all right player. That Daniel Alfredsson, pretty all right, you know.
Yeah. Couldn't step up against the Leafs though.
Ouch.
I remember that. Yep.
All right. So that about does it for us. This was Hockey Talk within Have You Seen This? Hey, it's bonus. A thing we watch on TV, right? It's That's a thing we've both watched this week.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I got nothing to plug. I don't do anything but this show, so I guess I'm plugging this show next week.
Yes.
On Tuesdays. Come join us. We'll be here. So for myself, for Snark, and for Dave in the back, we thank you, and we'll see you next time. Robot Ghost.
Mm-hmm. Who's not paying attention one bit.
Yeah,
he is falling asleep.
Vamp.
Do you remember that time that Robo Ghost accidentally bit that kid on his paper route? And to take him to the Robo.
I do. Yeah. And then the kid turned into a Robo Ghost.
Yeah, it was terrible.
And every full moon, he would download a virus would be downloaded into his consciousness, and he would transform into a Robo Ghost and go around terrorizing the town and spooking the electronics. Because a Robo Ghost. Oh, because we were trying to end the show, so we were just babbling about.